Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Running Real Estate Podcast. I'm excited today to introduce you to one of our newest agents here at Atlantic Shore Sotheby's International Realty. Very unique. It's not every day that we come across an agent that is right out of college, somebody that actually studied and completed their 4-year degree and then got into real estate, chose real estate as their profession. A lot of times we've seen real estate agents that maybe had a different career. They moved to the beach and they say, you know what, we're going to get into real estate. Or they're looking to supplement their income. Maybe they're a bartender, maybe they're in the service industry, and then they get their real estate license. But we're extremely excited to have this person join us because they've just got done with all their studies, graduated from college, and now has taken real estate on as a professional career. So excited to introduce you to Anthony Grasso. Thanks, Anthony.
Hi, guys. I'm Anthony Grasso. I grew up in Baltimore County and went to Salisbury University to study marketing and communications, and then completed my internship here with Ryan at Sotheby's. I studied marketing and communications, like I said, focusing mainly on consumer behavior, customer satisfaction. So part of the reasons I chose real estate as a career choice is because that is a lot of the job, is helping people solve their problems and meet their goals. So that's what I like to do.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So let's back up a little bit and give some of our audience some context here. So let's tell them, how did we meet? Like what in the process here, where did we connect?
So through the university, I needed an internship to complete my studies and get my degree. I reached out to a few different marketing internship positions in the Ocean City, Salisbury area, and Ryan reached back out to me, and I did my interview with Rochelle and Victoria, and then worked furthermore with Rochelle in the marketing part of the business. And then you asked if I would like to get my license or if it's something I'd be interested in, and being around it, I decided, yes, it is something that I like to do.
Yeah. So Anthony was a very key part in some of our video creation. As a summer intern, you spent the good part of 10 weeks, I think, with us, multiple days throughout the week, and we tasked Anthony with going out and getting film and footage, B-roll of a lot of the Ocean City condos, right?
Yep. All the high-rise buildings, Carousel. I think I did one at the Sea Watch and the Quay or the Key. All the high-rise buildings up in the North Ocean City area.
Right. And so you got a chance to go out and kind of see what those buildings were like, go inside them, do some video. You had to study them. You had to research them, right?
Yep, definitely I looked a lot into the history of the buildings, found out some cool facts about the Rainbow and the Carousel, how they became what they are today, as well as the Pyramid, one of the more interesting buildings. That was one of my favorite ones. I think that was one of the first ones actually that we did.
Right.
And I enjoyed exploring the Pyramid and seeing all the architecture and cool things inside there.
Right. And then so during the time you were with us, one of the things you did do is you sat in our team meetings.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So every Tuesday and Thursday we have our team meetings, and I opted to sit in on those team meetings and get a little more insight on what the real estate market looks like in Ocean City, the day-to-day tasks of what it is like to be an agent. And now I'm doing those things today. So.
Right. That's pretty cool. And I tell you, I'm excited that where you've come. You started as the intern, and a lot of times we've had interns over the years, but a lot of times they're going, after they graduate, they go home, back maybe across the bridge up to Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Washington. But you stuck around and you did the right thing. You graduated and now are using your graduation, the skills you learned and applying them into real estate. I will say that I think it was almost like tongue-in-cheek joking at first, where we have a lot of opportunities, we have a lot of leads that come into this office, and I remember in the summer being trying to find an agent to go show property. I'm like, Anthony, do I get your license? Do you want to show property? And it was kind of a little bit of a joke, but not really.
Yeah.
Right. And so you went and was that about the time that you started taking the classes for real?
Yeah. I mean, pretty much the day you mentioned it and brought it up, I kind of started looking into it, and then Katie was sending me some stuff as well for the CE shop to get the license, and I started it as I was taking my last semester of college and kind of just treated it as a fifth or sixth class and finished it in time to start my work when I was done
Right.
graduation. So
I mean, literally, like right when you
yeah,
graduated, you were like, "Hey, I'm ready to go."
yeah.
So that's awesome. So also let's give the so where are you from originally? Let's get to that.
I'm from Baltimore County. My family lives there still, but they own a property in Ocean City that we've had, I think, since 2015. So we've been coming here growing up my whole life, and then decided that we wanted to have a vacation home here. So my dad is a loan officer in Baltimore. I was around that the lending side of real estate growing up, and always meeting his clients, talking to his people, just kind of joking around as a younger person. And now I'm in the business world today as an agent, kind of seeing firsthand experience what it's like on this side of it.
Right. Right. So what I think is pretty cool is you've got this unique perspective that actually mirrors a lot of what our clients kind of go through. I mean, we a lot of our clients are Baltimore, Washington, Harford County, greater suburban
Yeah.
Baltimore area. That's where they're from originally, and so are you, right? So that side.
Yep.
Your family has owned property at the beach, which I can say a lot of agents that get their license down here at the beach maybe never have owned a condo, but you've been a part of that since you were young,
Yeah.
right? So you saw that process, and then you mentioned your father, who has been very active on the mortgage side and growing up in that world, which kind of mirrors what we do in real estate, right?
Yeah.
Self-employed, a lot of
Yep.
times working hard. What you put in is what you get out. So talk about that a little bit with your father and how that kind of influenced you here.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, he's like, you're self-employed as a loan officer, as an agent. What you, like Ryan said, what you put in is what you get out. So growing up, I would always see him not working on the weekends, networking on the weekends, prospecting, meeting new people. And now he's at the point where he doesn't really need to do that. People come to him. And I think that seeing someone that, when you put the work in and you get that back, rather than a regular 9 to 5, there's no really cap on your success.
Right.
It's your own, it's what you do. The sky is really the limit. So I like that a lot. And seeing him do that kind of encouraged me to go the sales route. And I like real estate. So
yeah. Well, it also seems to like you got a pretty good support structure.
yeah,
that has encouraged you to being like,
yes,
if you're going to do it, you got to go all in.
Yes, for sure. And I remember him telling me his story. He used to drive milk trucks for Cloverland, and then decided that he told my mom that she should quit her job and just take care of me so he can go full in on lending. And then ever since then, that's how it's been, and that's what he's done.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And like I said, that perspective and getting right into it, you certainly, that what I've seen thus far is you've taken this on like it's a career.
Yes.
Right. And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes I've seen in my years in real estate. The agents that want to get into it, like right out of the gate, that's when they're the most excited.
Yeah.
The day you pass your test, you're excited. I'm going to go out. I'm going to conquer the world.
Yeah.
Right. And then they get into it a little bit. And they start hot, and then they kind of start to fade off a little bit, or they find something else, and they're just not committed. They don't work like a full-time job.
Yep.
But you have.
Yeah. It's just like running. There's days where you don't want to do it, but in my head, I know that those days I don't do it, there could be a day the next week that I'm missing out on something that I could have achieved or accomplished for one of the people that I'm working with.
Right.
So reminding yourself of what is to come in the future, I think, helps achieve the daily tasks and the action steps that you need to get to that goal.
Right. And probably, I would imagine your father probably gives you perspective on that too. Like, it's some of these old sayings that, sometimes it's about doing the work, and you're going to get a lot of no's before you get yeses.
Yeah.
Right. And that's just part of it.
Yep.
So the more no's you get, the faster you get through all the no's, the faster you're going to get to a yes.
Yeah.
Right. So let me ask you this. I mean, growing up, were you involved in like any kind of competitive nature? Were you an athlete, athletics?
Yeah, I played I played lacrosse, baseball, soccer. I ran track all the way up until high school, and then I kind of cut out everything and was soccer pretty serious year round, traveling. I played in Vegas and state championships and regional championships all over the country. So yeah, I played in a lot of competitive sports, and that probably helps a little bit. I have a competitive edge to me, and that helps in this business. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I played a lot of sports growing up. I don't play soccer anymore, but I like to golf, and running is my main hobby or sporting activity that I'm into right now.
Right, right. So tell
So
us a little bit more about the running. You're training right now.
yeah, so I have my half marathon actually this Saturday, April 4th. So it's my first official race event. I haven't ran anything since high school, so I'm excited for that. A little nervous, but I have a goal in mind, and I think it's achievable.
Right.
So yeah, the last 16 weeks have been 4 or 5 days of hard runs, but it'll pay off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And so I think you've taken what you learned in sports. That if you fail, you got to brush yourself off. You actually don't fail until you quit, right?
Yeah.
But if you get a setback, you got to get yourself back up, brush yourself off, and keep going. And that faith, it's almost like faith that
Yeah.
in the end it's going to pay off.
Yeah.
Um, so okay, that's awesome. Now you've been with us for a little bit. You've had some success. You're certainly setting an example for I think a lot of the other ages as to your commitment level. What have you seen thus far that's maybe surprised you about the business that you weren't necessarily expecting? Anything?
I think being around it and like sitting in on the team meetings for my internship kind of not eliminated surprises, but gave me a realistic expectation of what's to come. So I don't think anything too crazy has happened yet that is out of the blue, but yeah, it's a learning experience for sure, and I'm learning as I go.
Right.
Yeah.
Anything that maybe you weren't necessarily thinking about, a lot of times I know when I got into business, I mean, I was probably thinking more about I'm going to sell real estate, I'm going to sell houses, this is going to be awesome. But I didn't necessarily think about like the paperwork as much, or I didn't necessarily think about like the negotiations, how much you had to negotiate,
Yeah.
or the highs and the lows. Like you have some success, and then the next minute it's like
Yeah. So coming into it, like you said, you're really excited, like to go conquer the world, and it's great that you have that adrenaline and you have the enthusiasm, but when it comes down to it, like you gotta do the action steps and everything, and sometimes that can be a little. It's just not as exciting as going out, meeting with your clients, showing them houses in person. You have to do the paperwork, the not so fun stuff as well to get the job done.
Right. Right. So, and then for your clients that you're currently working with and plan to work with in the future, what areas have you been focusing on? Where have you been doing most of your showings and business thus far?
I would say 50-50 in the town of Ocean City and Ocean Pines, Berlin area. I have a guy who's a friend of my dad's, actually went to high school with him, who I'm working with him and his wife. They're looking in the Pines to move from Baltimore, like you said. So they're familiar with the area, but not familiar with what it's like going through the purchase process of a home in this area. Yeah.
And so for some of your clients that have gone to settlement and have already settled, maybe tell a journey of what those clients were like and what you had to help them through, on the process.
Yeah. So, obviously it's a longer process. It's not something that people aren't going to buy a house or a vacation home the second they walk into it. I took them on my first clients. I took on multiple showings, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We were looking at places and kind of process of elimination through the whole thing, narrowing down the top 3 that they like. And then they came to me and were asking, what do you like about this building? Because my parents have a place here. They were looking Bayside and Oceanside. What are your thoughts on living on Oceanside versus Bayside? Right. Giving them a little bit of like local knowledge of what it's like to be here in the summertime and when you're staying at your vacation home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with the clients you're talking about right now, they were from out of the area, right?
Yes, in upstate New York, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had, pretty good drive. They had to come here. They came down. They made a weekend out of
Yeah.
it. You took them through multiple condo buildings,
Yep.
and so in Ocean City, you're like you said, you're evaluating Bayside, Oceanside, how big a building, how
Yep.
large a building, how small of a building, different amenities, right? Like,
Yeah.
what are some of the amenities
Uh,
that they factored in?
the building that they went with actually ended up, they have a rooftop pool, a fitness center. They have covered assigned parking, which is nice. They really wanted to have a easy walk to the beach with good views of the bay and the ocean. Luckily, this unit kind of is on ocean block, but gives them the sunset based bayside
Right.
view. So yeah, views, pool, elevator, parking spaces, things like that were some of their specifications that we had to narrow down and
Right.
decide based on the buildings that they were looking at.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot to take in,
Yeah.
obviously, location, amenities, size, and then price, right? And when they did find one, then you had to kind of start thinking about, like, where do they offer, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do they do? How do they go through the next steps, right?
Yeah. I mean, you gotta give put your clients in a position that makes them comfortable to make an offer. So I had a phone call with them for a good half hour, 45 minutes, trying to figure out what they're comfortable with, getting information from them and giving them my thoughts as well. And then by the end of it, we'd formed a relationship. By the end of the weekend, they had some trust in me and I had some trust in them, and we decided to make an offer that they were comfortable with, and it was countered and accepted at a price that they were looking to purchase a place for. So
That they felt comfortable and
yes,
good about. They
yes,
felt good about the
correct.
purchase. I think another thing too that maybe your clients would definitely benefit from, like with part of that purchase, from what I recall, you mentioned that they were not just factoring in, how much is it going to cost to buy it, but they were also looking at possibly an investment, right? This was a
Yes.
rental
Yeah.
investment or a portion of the time they were going to rent it out.
Yeah.
So was that factored in?
Yeah. So out of their three top choices, I got some rental information based on the past 2025 and 2024 and got that information to them, discussed what it would look like renting their place out if they were to go with a rental company, if they wanted to manage it themselves through Airbnb or Verbo or something like that, and kind of gave them all their options and what their rental income during the peak season would look like,
Right.
and help them kind of make a decision going from there.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty awesome, and that the thing that's interesting about your story there with these particular clients is it mirrors a lot of what people are trying to do,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we're a second home destination, but
Want the investment
yeah,
income. Yes.
yeah. I mean, a lot of people are looking at
Yep.
like the hybrid investment
Happy
where
medium.
yeah,
Yeah.
you can balance it out
Yep.
and have somebody help pay for some of those bills.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, even like I like to give my parents' story. Their first 2 years they rented to friends of friends to see how it went, decided it wasn't for them, and use it as just for them as a vacation home. So I think kind of got to get into the place, see how the rentals go. If it's not for you, then maybe it's just something you shouldn't go with.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think it's once again you just hit the nail on the head there. But you maybe newer to the business, but you've got a lot of experience, being able to experience what it's like to own a condo, hear your parents talk about it,
Yeah.
the ins and outs of it, the
Yep.
different locations. Those are all great things that you can share with your clients.
Yeah.
So excited for that. All right. So when you're not selling real estate, what do you like to do?
I walk a lot. I try to walk after all my meals. I'm training for a half marathon that's this weekend. So not really training anymore, but just maintaining until Saturday.
Right.
And then I'm going to sign up for a full marathon. So yeah, running is kind of my therapy / hobby right now, I guess you could say. I can think and just, clear my head
Right.
on not such a good day. And I think it's a good discipline for me to stick to a routine.
Mhm.
So yeah, I like to run. I like to golf. Traveling a lot. I want to do all the state parks in the U.S. That's one of my goals. So yeah, just a lot of outdoors type activities.
All right, that's good.
Yeah.
So what are your goals? Anything, so obviously you got a big goal, you're gonna run a marathon. With that, what are your goals for the rest of this year when it comes to real estate?
For the rest of this year, we kind of discussed goals a few weeks ago. I would like to acquire a first listing by the end of my first year.
Because you're working with a lot of buyers right
Yes,
now,
yes.
right?
I can't think of any specific goals. I have the 24 closed in mind. That is I would like to have 24 closed by the end of the calendar year.
So it's 2 a month.
Yeah,
right?
so 2 a month.
Average.
Yeah. So that's kind of my main goal right now.
Okay. It's good. Well, I think it's pretty fitting
Yeah.
that you're a runner, you like to be outside, and you're on the Running Real Estate podcast.
Yeah.
Right? So, no, I appreciate you taking the time.
Yeah, of course.
I want to tell you that I'm extremely excited for your growth and your potential. I've said it to you before, but I got in the business young. I got in right out of college, and I tried to make it a career. It took me a little while to get some traction. So I'm excited that you're kind of doing the same thing, and you're going to do it better. You're
I'm excited.
Do it better and faster. So we are very thankful that you have joined us, and we know we'll have to come back and do this again and give a kind of an update as to Anthony's success here. So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's great.
Our pleasure. Till next time, everybody, thank you for tuning in. If you like this information, please share it with your friend. Contact Anthony if you're thinking about buying a place here on Delmarva, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.